So I don't sing or dance, and it's a lightning keynote, and I have no pyrotechnics. That was just this morning. However, I used to do a bit of stand-up comedy, so hopefully I'll make you guys laugh. Not at my presentation, but at some of the jokes that I have planned. All right, let's get on with it. So I'm here to talk about the post-screen or post-mobile world that we're living in. And you could imagine, with all the conversation we had today about all the advancements in this space, what's coming next. And part of my job is to keep a finger on the pulse of that. And the post-mobile world isn't just what Elon Musk would have you believe, where the robots take over and take all of our jobs and control our lives, but how technology and mobile devices are going to advance and create new experiences for us to consume and new experiences for brands to create services and products around. And we see innovation happening everywhere, constantly. It's part of our job to keep our clients informed of this, to make sure they know what's going on, what they need to be prepared for, to make sure that our teams are educated on what's happening, and to find the right partners to work with to experiment and create next-gen experiences against these trends to see what's going to be transformative. And for everything that's shaping the marketplace or creating new ones, there are 4 megatrends that we've been focused on, and they're no surprise, right? Our worlds are becoming ever more augmented. There is a constant connectedness to commerce, and that's being driven by a lot of new interfaces that are creating new behaviors, so you could shop with your voice, as many of you are aware. And it's also being fueled by a rise of machine learning and AI that's driving mass personalization and mass customization of these experiences, of the content, of the services, and even of some of the goods themselves. So it's important that we understand how to harness this and bring it to our clients and bring it to our partners and create what's next. For every conference that I've been to that I could remember in recent times, it's always been the year of mobile. Right? You've heard that, someone coins, it's the year of mobile. It's always the year of mobile. The year of mobile happened, and it happened 10 years ago with this. It's really hard to believe it's the 10th anniversary of the iPhone this year. And the iPhone 8 is coming out sometime this fall, and there's a ton of speculation around that. Is Siri going to be smarter? Is it going to support AR because AR Kit got announced? And will we be able to create richer experiences through it? How better is the camera going to be? Is the chipset going to be faster? Like, people are fascinated by speculating on what Apple's going to do next. And when you sell 1.2 billion phones to the tune of $740 billion over 10 years, you create new industries. And from the iPhone, hundreds of products have been created, right? We've gone from the iPad to the App Store, to the watch, to Siri, to Apple TV, which has upended the entertainment industry. And it's also given birth to things like Android, which is probably an even more ubiquitous platform given how it's permeated so many other devices, and companies like Samsung rolling out their Galaxy line of products. When you think about some of the things that didn't exist in the past 10 years, it's kind of hard to fathom. It's hard to imagine living without some of these services. And you could, if you were here earlier, you heard Uber say they wouldn't be around without the smartphone. They are a mobile-first company. They are designed for people on the go to get them from point A to point B. You couldn't do that in a pre-mobile world. You probably couldn't do that in a pre-4G world either, and I would argue that that's probably the tipping point on this chart, which is not exhaustive, but illustrative of some of the things that couldn't happen without that level of connectivity. Even the iPhone and all its beautiful functionality probably wouldn't have become as ubiquitous without better connectivity, and as 5G is coming next, we can only imagine what will come with it, because there will be much less lag time, much faster connections. Things like autonomous vehicles will be more of a reality, because when you think about it, you need those things to be connected at a much higher rate of speed. And you need them to be connected not just to the cloud, but to other vehicles, to not just your phone, but to other people, to other services, and that's not possible necessarily today. These things are more than just devices that we talk and text on. They are gateways to this world. They are mini supercomputers that help us be more productive. They are high-powered media devices that help us become content producers and editors and streamers. They are travel agents. They are banks. They are retailers. And this is what many of our home screens probably look like. Maybe not yours. I don't know if you're crazy and you color code all your apps, but maybe use folders like me. This is kind of nuts when you think about it. There have been 140 billion apps downloaded. There's over 2 million of them in the iOS App Store. There's 2.8 million of them for Android alone. And these things are gateways not just to entertainment and to games and utility, but to real-world experiences. Real-world experiences that increasingly are more connected to one another, increasingly are being powered by machine learning and AI to create more personalized experience for us, and increasingly opening up new possibilities of how we live our lives and the things that we rely on, how we not just send email or text or are entertained by content, but how we stay healthy, how we control the security of our homes, how our kids are educated. The world of possibilities that is still to be unlocked and realized is fascinating. And ultimately, this makes people more curious. Is AI going to help them get to things quicker? Is it going to surface information faster? Could I just ask a simple question and get a simple answer on a consistent basis? Does this look familiar? Right? Anyone with kids or with an Alexa, or probably both, has seen this. I'm very familiar with this. Not because I have 10 kids. That's probably, let me walk that back. I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old and 8-year-old, and they are obsessed with Alexa. They love Alexa, they love Siri for different reasons. Alexa they love because she entertains them. She plays music, she tells them jokes. Siri is a little bit more of a reference guide. It's like their librarian. But they love to torment and torture these things because they're trying to stump them. Because they're kids and they're having fun, and these are new experiences that are actually quite natural for them. They ask a lot of questions, a ton of fucking questions. My daughter the other day asked me, she said, "Daddy, why doesn't Alexa know everything?" And I'm like, what, how do I answer that? What do you mean? I'm like, people don't know everything. She's like, but Alexa, you ask her things and sometimes she doesn't have the information. And I started to explain how computers work, how apps work, how software is developed, how coding works. And I stopped and I'm like, Ruby, you're going to coding camp this summer and you're going to learn how to develop an app and maybe make us some money, because there seems to be a really big opportunity here. But ultimately, we're at the dawn of these new interfaces. What our kids and this next generation of consumers are going to grow up with in terms of how they access information, how they connect with one another, how they consume different services is going to be radically different than what we did. My son, who's 4, doesn't know about a mouse, barely knows about a keyboard, everything is touch and swipe, and of course, now he could scream at things and expect to get a response. And today, that's about as well as it works, and it's not perfect. It probably didn't happen like this. But maybe it did. We have no idea. So, brands need to consider all of this and much more. How are they going to fit into this world? How are they going to be understood? How are they going to be discovered? If you listen to some recent reports from Google, 20% of their search queries are driven by voice. There's a recent report that said of all the people that own an Alexa, there's been 20% of them who have shopped through it, which is hard to believe because there are millions and millions of those devices. But when you think about how Amazon and other companies have lowered the barrier to entry of usage, it's not hard to fathom how easy it is to say, Alexa, please order me something from Whole Foods. Some of these products didn't exist 2 years ago. Some of these products didn't exist a few months ago. And they continue to roll out new things. One of them is fake. Any Saturday Night Live fans here? The Alexa Silver, very good, you win a prize. Alexa Silver is a joke. It was meant to spoof what old people are like interacting with new technology. And if I gave Alexa to my parents, it would be what my experience would be like. They had to dumb it down to understand how old people interact because they don't know what to do. Just go on Hulu and watch it. The point here is we're not going to live in an Amazon-dominated world, although there's some people here probably from Amazon that would like to believe that. But we're living in a world that is increasingly, exponentially growing of connected smart devices. Whether you believe Salesforce that it's 75 billion, Gartner who says it's 20 billion, Forbes who says it's 80 billion, it's growing time and time again. There's 10 billion smart connected devices today, although you would consider them disconnected and maybe even dumb because they're not necessarily connected to one another. They are not driving personalized experiences. They're not providing the utility or the promise that we all have that we'll probably see in short order. But when you think about things like the smart home, with 65% of people having a willingness, in this country at least, to bring IoT into their homes, there's ripe opportunity to create new and better and faster experiences, and it's coming soon. Amazon happens to dominate the smart home speaker category with about 70% share today, but you could imagine with Apple introducing a new product and Google Home starting to catch up, it's going to look a little bit different soon. It's especially going to look different as these devices go from being things that we thumb away with or speak to, and they actually start to augment what we see and how we interact. And if you think about this is kind of frightening. We don't want to be transported to another world where we're isolated and we're potentially walking into traffic. That would be terrible. But if you think about the promise of virtual reality, you do need to be transported. You do need to be taken away. You do need to be immersed in something that does take you out of the real world. And with the millions of headsets and devices and things like Google Cardboard that have been shipped to date, it's easy to believe that this could be the world we live in. But it's really hard to develop immersive experiences. It's costly. It takes time. It's hard to discover them. And it's hard to educate people on how to use it. So there might be easier ways. We might live in a more augmented world, a world around us that we don't have to put goggles on, but maybe through our glasses we can see and we can interact with and we can have some fun with. If you haven't seen this, this is a demo that an NYU grad student put together on HoloLens. And I could tell you all about it or I could show it to you. I'd rather show you a short video clip and see for yourself.
Hi, I'm Abhishek, and I've recreated the iconic first level of Super Mario Bros. As a first-person, life-size augmented reality game that I'm now going to play as Mario.
I think that was one of the coolest examples I've ever seen of the mixed reality world that we are soon going to live in. And what was funny about it is if you looked in the top corner, people are walking by and they're seeing him dressed as Mario walking through Washington Square Park, and it seems crazy unless those people were also playing it themselves, walking around with the same glasses, and everyone in their own world. So whether or not this is real today or things like ARKit are going to make it more real, it's hard to say, but that took this guy a month to build on his own in his spare time as a grad student. So the possibilities seem endless, and it seems to be accelerating faster and faster every single day. But today, some Silicon Valley fans here, this is our reality. Great. Maybe Amazon will disrupt this next. So I'll leave you with what we try to leave our clients with when we take them through talks like this, and hopefully it's not broken glass, but inspiration. 4 things. 1, we're all consumers. Before you go out and develop any of these things, you have to think about whether or not you would use it. Does it solve a problem? Does it fix something? Does it improve something that's broken? Are you solving problems that don't exist? That's probably not going to help. And you have to always put yourself in consumers' shoes because you yourself are one and are probably going to be using one of these products. We have to experiment constantly. We don't know what the future is really going to bring in 3 years' time. I don't know what it's going to bring in 3 months' time, but if we're not constantly thinking about it and tweaking and experimenting, we're never going to learn. If we're not anticipating the possibilities of what a voice-driven search world is going to be and how we go from having physical shelf space to virtual shelf space to now audible shelf space, and we don't know what our brand voice is, and how we're meant to be discovered and the type of content we need to create to be surfaced in all of these different environments, whenever someone is looking for it, we're going to get left behind. But we don't know exactly what it is, so we have to keep moving, and we have to learn, and we have to adjust, and we have to adapt. And you can't wait for these trends to be validated. You can't wait to see whether or not they're going to be a fad. You also can't wait until your business is potentially disrupted by them. So that could happen, or the flip side could be you keep up with society, or maybe you end up leading society, and you figure out what works, and you create what's next. And thank you guys very much for having me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. And I'll see you later on for drinks. Thanks.